Every lap, every race, every bit of paint traded for every hard-fought place. Every checkered flag and trophy raised. Every ounce of dirt, sweat, and gears. They're all jammed inside every can of NOS Energy. Go ahead, open up a can.
This is a special presentation of DIRTVision, bringing you the pinnacle of dirt track racing. Led by World of Outlaws sprints and late models. We also have the Super Dirt Car Series, Extreme Outlaw Midgets, American Sprint Car Series, and Dirt Car Summer Nationals. Plus, weekly racing and special events at America's premier racetracks. The best drivers, the best coverage. DIRTVision is home to the greatest shows on dirt.
And welcome to the Knoxville Nationals pre-race show presented by Midwest Sanitation and Recycling. I'm Tony Bacco, and my co-host this week, all week, is none other than Dominic Selzy. Good to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
This is
been
great.
A while since I've been back to Knoxville.
I feel like I'm sitting next to Elvis.
I'm much better looking.
Folks, we have a great show lined up all week long. Today, our first guest is Tyler Courtney. We have Brian Brown coming up later. Donnie Schatz and Logan Schuchart will be joining us here today. So we've got a lot to cover in the next hour, and we're glad you're here with us. And so let's get started. Tyler, it's good to see you here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad I get to kick off your show this week.
Yeah. We had to have the best guy first.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Start off with
something like that.
Big bang here.
You keep telling me that, I'll believe it.
So, what's going on? You got a 360 win here at Knoxville, and you've been running well here. And what's your thoughts coming into the Nationals this week? I feel like the caliber of cars this week is really high.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like for the first time in a while, I mean, I guess a little bit of last year too, I feel like the Nationals is kind of wide open. Like, I don't think there's one guy that's an absolute favorite. I think if I had to pick one, I would probably pick Rico as a favorite, if I was a fan just watching. But, man, I think there's so many good cars and drivers and teams this year that I wouldn't be shocked if there's a new champion, come Saturday.
The last 6 weeks, you guys have really seemed to step up your pace. Started off a little bit rocky and continuously have gotten better. You won here just a few weeks ago. You won a preliminary night at the 360 Nationals. You've been fast here before. What is it going to take to get better than fourth? Not necessarily even win, but just get yourself in a better position to possibly run better than fourth.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to your prelim night, really. I mean, you got to lay down 2 really good laps, and that sets up your weekend a lot better than not laying down 2 good laps, right? But I think the key for me in the past has been getting through the heat race. I think almost every time I've gone through the heat race from starting 8th, we've qualified well, go from 8th to 3rd or 4th, and you put yourself in a really good spot for the feature, and you don't have to, put yourself in a bad spot in the feature to try and, hurt your chances of, locking in for Saturday. You've already got a lot of points, but yeah, I think the biggest thing is just putting yourself in good spots, right? And I feel the most confident I've ever been coming here. I feel like because I've led laps here and I've been able to lock in the last 3 times I've run it. I'm kind of on an every other year program right now with being hurt the last couple years. But I feel very confident with our speed and how I'm driving right now, and and last week obviously was great for us. I know it's 360s versus 410s, but coming here and getting confidence moving forward to this week is massive. I mean, momentum and confidence in any sport is huge. So getting to come do that last week was great for me, my team, and everyone with us.
I keep getting asked by people, because I talk about a lot of times how important laps are here at Knoxville. From your perspective, why are laps so much more important here than maybe at some of the other racetracks you go to?
There's just no track like this in the entire world. This is the most unique track that you'll ever race at, and trying to explain that is really hard until you go do it. And it's just so technical and very hard. I mean, running the bottom here is probably one of the hardest things you have to do in a race car. Yeah. And man, when you hit it, you feel like an absolute hero. But man, I missed it the other night and I spun out. Like, you miss it and you feel like the biggest jackwagon in the world. And you pay for it too. You miss it, you spin out, or you get passed by 3 or 4 guys that you just worked really hard to get by. Now running the top is I don't want to say generic like every other place, because it gets technical. Like if they don't go knock the curb down and stuff and it's up on the fence, it's one of the toughest places to run the top at as well. So yeah, I think just getting laps here and getting confidence of knowing when to move and when not to move on your lines and things like that is the biggest thing. So I think that's why you see guys, when they get an off weekend or a free weekend, they come here to get as many laps as they can. And it's a big reason we run the 360 Nationals. I know it's quite a bit different than the 410s, but just getting laps here in general is huge. Now, I say that, getting good laps is also like you can come here and just run around. Those aren't good laps, but to go last weekend and win and run up front on Saturday, those are all great laps and great feedback you can give to your team and your crew chief to build towards this week.
The heat races here are so tough with the huge invert, and obviously you've qualified well here a lot. Talk to me about having to make those decisions going into the first corner when you're in that fourth row and the air here, what all that does.
Yeah, I mean, you have a plan going, like you're taking off of 4 and you got a plan, and by the time you get to 1, usually it's changing. But yeah, I mean, you're trying to stay out of directly behind you guys, so you're not getting tight and washing up towards the fence or washing up into another car, and just get yourself through that first corner and hopefully pass 1 or 2 guys to set yourself up good for the next corner. But it's tough, man, because yeah, you always think you have a plan, and usually it gets changed for you, or you change it by the time you get to turn 1, and it's just it's intense. But those heat races, like, especially if you qualify good, man, if you can be one of the few guys, tonight and tomorrow to sneak through the heat race from the fourth row, man, you're in a really damn good spot for Saturday.
How would you describe to people that have never raced a sprint car what dirty air feels like?
Hitting black ice, really. Like, I would say that's like the closest thing. Like, you're just going in there, and then all of a sudden you lose pretty much all control. We lose all downforce on the car, so that you pretty much lose steering, and you're just kind of hanging on until you get some air back on you, or you slow down enough to where the car gets back into the racetrack. But yeah, I would say it's like black ice, or you just, like, I mean, more it's coming in the race car. Like, you can kind of like, man, I'm probably a little too close to this guy. I'm going to get tight here. So you can kind of control that a little bit. Black ice is a little more surprising, but I would say just the loss of control feeling is similar to black ice. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. We were talking about this.
You don't really have ice in California, I guess.
Not anymore. Yeah. But I was kind of saying the same thing. Like, when you're in dirty air here, if you get yourself in a bad position, you can lose all feeling of the front end.
Oh, in a hurry. And once you lose feeling in the front end, you got to roll out of the throttle, or you're going to crash. And when you lift here, you're just like I said earlier. If you miss the bottom or you got to lift, you get eaten alive, and all that ground you just worked for is gone.
And I got to imagine in a 360, that's even harder because of less horsepower.
Yeah, it's even worse. I mean, and like Saturday night last week, I would keep getting to Aaron right off the exit of the corners on the bottom, and he'd see me and go to the bottom, and then I'd have to switch to the top, and he'd pull away from me, and I'd have to get back to the bottom, not in his air, and chase him back down. But I would just catch him at the wrong spot every time, and with a 360, it's just hard to squirt past the guy on the bottom. A 410, if you get a run, you can kind of hold yourself down there a little longer, use your horsepower to get you off the corner and try to get by him down the straightaway. A 360, you're pretty much wide open the whole time. So that's what you got is what you got.
One thing, I'm just looking at it, I went and kind of walked here before we got up on stage. Has the top kind of flattened off a little bit more than normal?
I would say a little bit, but I think they've done that to bring the bottom back into equation. I feel like there for a little bit, the bottom wasn't quite as racy as what it had been in the past. But yeah, the races I've watched here this year, just like the beginning part of the year, little wishy-washy, but it's just part of the beginning part of the year. But man, I feel like once we got to like May and June, the races here have been really, really good. I mean, they have an invert on the weekly shows, and Ryan and Austin and Brian are all coming from 10th or 12th and 8th to drive through the field and win these things. So it's definitely I feel like they definitely flattened it out a little bit, but I think it's made the track racier.
One thing I always remembered racing here was when you get to the gates, whether it be the back straightaway or the front straightaway, running the top, it almost suck you into the fence.
Oh yeah.
Is that still a big part of it?
Oh, it's still a big part of it, and it's a pucker factor sometimes, especially if there's a guy coming off the bottom and you're trying not to lift. Because another thing too, when you get close to the wall and you lift, it'll suck you in as well. So you're trying not to lift to keep the wheels spinning to get you going that direction. So yeah, there's a couple of sketchy moments, but you want to win this race, you're going to have some sketchy moments.
Danny Lasowski often says if you want to win the Knoxville Nationals, you have to be able to do it on the bottom.
Yeah,
and to your point earlier,
I would
about
agree. I mean,
the importance of that.
Brad Sweet, when he won the Nationals, I think he ran 50 perfect laps on the bottom of that race, and all week, man. And it's just, I think almost every one of Danny's wins are all on the bottom. I think, you may not win it at the end of the race on the bottom, but at some point of that race, you're going to have to run the bottom and run it well to put yourself in a position to win this race.
So tell us about the paint scheme for this week. You got a little something different.
Yeah, so obviously, unfortunately, it's been 10 years since we lost Brian Clausen. We were on the 7BC and all this kind of stuff. To honor him, this year, it's not an exact replica, but the design in the car is a exact replica of the first midget I ever worked on him with him and Tim on. So it's just cool to get to honor him that way. Obviously, it's not a midget; it's a wing car, so it looks a little different on some things. But the overall design of it is pretty much the exact same. And then obviously, it's not a white car, but it's blue. We get to tie in, our Knoxville Energy Drink colors with a tribute to Brian, and just honor him. It sucks. I wish he was here. I think he might be one of the guys you're talking about winning on Saturday.
Right.
Now, question for you. Now you're an Iowa resident. I got a free tan. I dropped your name here in town. Does it mean more now that you're racing and you get to stay at your own house and you're just right down the street?
It's pretty nice being able to go home each night. I think obviously this year's a little different because Asia's pregnant, so I've got a DD, so I can have a couple drinks and not have to worry about getting home. And but it is nice, man. Driving 12 minutes east to a little town called Harvey and get to sleep in your own bed. But I think not that winning this race meant any less before, but I think living in Iowa, obviously I've only lived here for a couple years, but
can we say an Iowan wins if you win this weekend? Can we say that?
I'd let it happen. Yeah, I think I'm a Hoosier through and through, but where I live now, my kid's going to be an Iowan, and it's just awesome. Just even on a local show, man, you roll into this place and it's just you just feel it all, and it's just amazing, and just very fortunate to get to be a part of all this.
You have a special T-shirt this week, right, with Harvey on it?
So
Harvey,
Iowa.
Like a commemorative. This is probably a one and done, right?
Yeah, because it'll probably go back to Indianapolis, Indiana on the shirt, because that's where I'm from. But I wanted to do that. Where I'm from, Harvey. One of my friends, Austin Geary, he kind of put me up to it to put Harvey on there because that's his hometown, and so we kind of made a deal with that. Got it on the shirts. And it's been a hit. A lot of the people are like, oh, it says Iowa on it, so they like buying that, and it's been cool. And Harvey's not a very big town, but I think everybody from Harvey that comes to the races has bought a Harvey, Iowa shirt, so it makes me feel special, man. So we won the other night. We got home, and a couple little kids that come up to me earlier in the week last week and said, hey, if you win, we live in Harvey, can we come put some signs in your yard? I said, yeah, sure. So we won Friday night, and no shit, I got home, and there was 2 little signs in the front yard, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Harvey would fit in this parking lot here, so it's not a very big town. No. So I know there's been some people that I know that know that you live there, and they're all stoked about the fact that Tyler Courtney lives in our town, so that's pretty cool.
The closest gas station and grocery store is here or Pella. But it's awesome. I love it. It's definitely a change of pace from living in Indiana, where I grew up, in a very populated area, but it's just a nice change of pace to come here, and we're never home anyway, so it's when we are home, it is nice to be here and enjoy the peacefulness, and if we get an off weekend that we're not racing here, we come and watch.
It seems like a lot of your travel is 45 minutes north to the casino.
Prairie Meadows.
Now that you've got a full-time gambling partner here, what's that like?
Yeah, someone called Giovanni. Really, I think Maddie's more the issue, honestly. Her and Asia, they suck us into going there way more often than we should. But no, it's fun. It's they actually have a really good steakhouse there.
I was going to say, it's for the food, right?
Yeah, AJ's Steakhouse is their Caesar salad is phenomenal.
Well, hey, man, we're going to let you go. Thanks for joining us here tonight. We wish you the best of luck this week. I know this is really very important to you, and I think this guy is as likely to win this race as anybody on the roster this week, so good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Tyler Courtney, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, Brian Brown will be joining us here on the pre-race show, brought to you by Midwest Sanitation.
Inside a machine that's built to win, it's chaos, unless it's protected. Every component is pushed to the limit. Lap after lap, these engines take a beating. And when performance is everything, there's no room for compromise. From race day to work day, Wix filters are trusted where failure isn't an option. Wix filters, engineered for experts.
At Pit Boss Jack's, we put in the work in the shop so you can put in your work at the track. Engineering, speed, durability. Pit Boss Jack's, like a boss.
And welcome back to the Knoxville Raceway pre-race show presented by Midwest Sanitation and Recycling. Glad to have you with us here. Everybody in attendance here this afternoon, we're happy that you're with us. And I didn't think that was on for a minute, but if you didn't hear me at home, I said welcome back to the Midwest Sanitation pre-race show. We have Blackjack Brian Brown with us, our next guest on the show, a 69-time winner here at the Knoxville Raceway. Brownie, how are you?
I'm glad to be here, guys. Two better guys I wouldn't want to spend this afternoon with.
Boy.
It's funny. Like, I've known you my whole life, but a lot of people don't realize you, from Knoxville, you got me my first shot in Australia. We went out and were teammates. Come a long ways from there.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we've been friends, obviously, forever through Danny and your dad, and at Sedalia. Obviously, you're sitting in one of my super clean cars, I think, or you or Gio, one of those. And the friendship stayed throughout the years, and there was an opportunity to bring another American to Australia with me. And I thought, who better to give a shot than Dominic? And he went down there and he whipped my butt, so I didn't invite him back.
What a deal.
Yeah, it's just cool. You know, I remember, like, the World Challenge. I got so many opportunities from Brian. It's cooled out now that I'm somewhat
Do you have one of these
retired.
friends, Brownie?
No, I don't got one of those.
I had to knock this guy off walking to the bathroom for it.
So, big week. This is a big week for you, big week for your family, but let's back up a couple of weeks. You guys had a huge turnout for the Lasowski family tribute here, which was really special. And the opportunity to honor your grandfather and your Uncle Danny. Talk to us about what that was like for you as a driver and as just a member of that famous family here.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, thankful for the Weiler Corporation for allowing us to be a part of their night. That's always been their night for a long time. And we just tried to figure out a night. I had the idea of, like, hey, they always do these memorials for people when they pass away or whatnot. Let's do a tribute when everybody's alive and can celebrate the legacy. So had the idea, threw it together, ran it by Danny, threw it together and tried to figure out, okay, what night's a good night? And that's the night that in my mind I wanted, but had to deal with Weiler, and they were 100% on board with it. And I think it was a huge success, and a lot of great partners. Dominic and his dad and his whole family supported. I think we had 20 some different partners, and paid a lot of money out from first to last, and a lot of contingencies. So it was just a good overall night, something that when we laid my head down on the pillow on Saturday night, I was really proud of.
And you had a special number on the car. What was that like when Grandpa George got to see that number for the first time?
Yeah, his number has always been 33, and when I started, I was 3. I said, I can't live up to him, so I'll just cut a 3 off. So I was 3 for a while, and then my career took a different path, and I switched numbers a little bit. But yeah, I didn't tell Grandpa at all. I really didn't tell anybody that I was doing it. My crew guys knew about it on Thursday of that week, and they're like, oh, it looks like we're changing numbers. So I peeled everything off myself. So, and then I told Danny, and I could tell it was pretty cool to Danny, and then my grandpa saw it was just even made it more special. And it was a number to most people. We look, he changed his number, but it's a big deal to me. It's like no different than 41 to you guys. So yeah, to be able to do that and have success was just an awesome feeling. And like I said, everybody was giving me crap. I should keep it, and I really wanted to, but we didn't. I said if I won both features, I would keep it, and I would have stuck to my promise of that. But maybe we'll do it again one time soon.
If you guys over the last decade have been as fast as you have here at Knoxville, you've been so close, you've led a lot of laps here at the Nationals. What would it mean to you to actually knock off the Knoxville Nationals on Saturday?
Yeah, it'd be huge. I feel like that we've been very, very close lots of times. And it's weird, as it is in racing, there's lots of ebbs and flows and, highs and lows. And there's been plenty of times I've come into this event being, oh my, I'm could be one of the favorites. There's times I've come here and like, man, hopefully I can just make the show. There's times I've come here, I've just been kind of below the radar where I think I'm really fast. Like last year, I feel like I was really, really fast. So it's just weird. It's weird to have, the thoughts that go through your head of kind of where you're at year to year. I feel like that if we go and do our job on our qualifying night, we've been really good here the last 2 or 3 weeks. We're qualifying really well, good in the heats and pretty good in the features. If we go out and do that and put ourselves in position for Saturday, I feel like we can beat anybody in the world, and that's just kind of do our own thing. Don't just mind our own business. Be quietly under the radar, and I feel like if we do that, it'll be an exciting Saturday for us.
How often do you think about running second here at the Nationals?
About every day of the year and twice on Sundays. Yeah, I wake up a lot of times just thinking of it. It's crazy. When you lose 3 different times, and they're all 3 different ways. You think back and you watch videos and you think, man, if I would have did this different, I would have did that different. And sometimes the year Donnie came from the B, I don't think anybody was going to beat him that year. But the other 2 years, I felt like that. The first year, I felt like I made a mistake off of 2 with about 6 or 8 to go. That kind of lost a little bit of a gap, and I lost by half a car length. So you replay that and think, man, what could have happened? And then the year I passed him and went to, and then gave him the bottom back, and he passed me back. So just I think those times that go by, you wish you could just use your experience you have today and get yourself back in position. The hardest part is getting back in position. I'm sure I see Donnie's coming on next. He knows he's won it 12 times or 10 times or whatever, and just getting yourself in position is the toughest part. Like, really, when it comes time to Saturday race, if your car's good, you can win it. But you're not going to win it from the C main or back of the B main or whatnot. So just, I always say it, and it sounds like a broken record. You cannot win this race on your qualifying night, but you can lose it. You just got to stay in contention and just be competitive and be good every single time you hit the track.
There's not many 50-lap sprint car races, and I don't think there's any as demanding as the Knoxville Nationals main event. With your injury last year, how do your hands feel, and do you feel like that's going to come into play late in the race on Saturday?
Yeah, I would love to say it wasn't going to. It's like my hands are healed good. It's more of like a forearm pump in my left arm where some nerve and tendon, I think more damage got done in the wreck besides just that. So it's just basically like running 10 or 15 laps and you get an arm pump and you can hold the wheel, but you can't really move your hand like you should. So I've tried everything under the sun, dry needling, compression, and I do more maintenance on this wrist, I promise you, than we do on that race car. But it's part of it. It is what it is. Like I said yesterday in the press conference, at this time of the year, there's no excuses. Who cares? Everybody's banged up. Everybody's got a broken rib or a half concussion or whatnot. You just suck it up and do the best you can.
I know you're a guy with a lot of confidence, but how much confidence boost was it for you and your team getting that win last weekend?
Yeah, it was big. Even though it was a 360 race, there's lots of good 410 cars in the field, and I felt like the week before I ran second to Ryan, but it really was with 5 to go or 4 to go. I felt like, okay, this feels like my old self. This guy's not 7 seconds ahead. I can see him and see what he's doing. And that morning, even though I ran second that race, I felt like, okay, like here we go. Like this is the old Brian, and that's how I felt. And I really feel like that. I felt pretty good on Sunday. We just tried some things in the A main, and it just pays the same from 24th to 10th, so there wasn't a lot of use to just run your motor to death. So yeah, I feel like I feel very optimistic that we're going to have a very, very good week. Just need a little bit of luck. Good, decent pill draw will help. Be good in the heats, get in the feature, and just get in the first 2, 3, 4 rows, and I feel like we'll have a good shot.
Seems like you guys are closing in on it. You started off a little bit rough at times, but
yeah.
You guys have started to get a little bit more consistent. Is there something that you found specifically?
A little bit, yeah. Sometimes when you race here on a weekly basis, you kind of get in a box and say, okay, gosh, this worked. This has been working for 15 years. It should work. Let's keep trying it. You just beat a dead horse. And we were off a little bit, and then we went to Eldora, and sometimes you get away from here, you're like, just try something. Who cares? What do you want to try, Chad? Try it tonight. And we kind of got on a little something there, and they were like, oh, that seems better than we were when we unloaded here 2 days ago. And like, okay, let's take it to Knoxville. And we took it here, and like, oh, wow, that feels better consistently. So, yeah, I think really traveling a little bit probably helped that scenario. And it's just different. You know how it is. Your car has to be a certain way to qualify, and then when it comes time for the heat races, you got to be a different way, and then, time for the feature. You're almost freeing your car up all night long because you're going to be in worse air. And we just got our car a little bit better, I feel like, to where we can run in behind guys and be more maneuverable when they get immaneuverable.
One of the things I think is also pretty cool when I step back and think about your racing operation is the following you have from Pennsylvania people. You have a pretty big Pennsylvania posse following. What do you attribute that to?
I love going to Pennsylvania, and I think the Pennsylvania people, they're so passionate. I wouldn't say weird. They're very, very passionate. And They absolutely love the PA posse. They absolutely hate the outlaws and high limit guys, but I think they love guys that come, entrepreneurs that come on their own will. This guy he don't have to be here this weekend. He came, and when I went to Tuscarora 50 for the first time, I mean, I sold more T-shirts there than I do on a Saturday here at Knoxville, Saturday at Knoxville Nationals, and probably about 8 out of 10 T-shirt orders online go to Pennsylvania. So it's just they call me their adopted son, and my grandpa was originally from Pennsylvania, so there's a little bit of a heritage there. So I love going there. I love that time of the year. The Knoxville Nationals are over, the pressure's over. Let's just go have some fun. There's no expectation. The weather's getting a little bit cooler. I'm a big football fan. There's football on every single night of the year, or every single night of the week. It's just my favorite time of the year.
With the weather going on this week, obviously chances of rain almost every night. Does that affect the racetrack a lot here? It's been a long time since I've raced here, but with that many cars, does it affect how they're going to work the racetrack?
It really kind of puts handcuffs on the Duncans, I feel like, because if it looks like tomorrow, I just looked at the weather, it could rain up to 2 inches is what it looks like. So how can they prep the track like they normally would, knowing there's 2 inches of rain coming in? So I feel like they're the best in the world. They'll probably get it kind of capped over and say, okay, let's see how much rain we get. And then come 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow, they'll say, okay, did we get a lot? Do we need to actually open it up to get it dry? Or do we need to start working it again? So I think stuff like that kind of plays into my favor because I'm here on a weekly basis a lot. And if stuff happens, over time, I see all conditions. And you take a guy from wherever that may not see those, I feel like that's an advantage to us. And like I said, it's going to be the same for everybody. There's going to be weather affecting the races tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday somehow, some way. I think over the years, you just learn you can't control track prep, you can't control the weather, you can't control your pill draw, you can't control who you're in your heat race. Just do the best you can with what's in front of you, and if that's good enough, that'll be good enough. It's not, it's not. So, like I said, just I want to say hello to Little Cash too. He was mad because he couldn't come with me.
I was just going to ask,
but he's watch. I said you go watch on DIRTVision, and I'll come get you afterwards. But he was dirty from head to toe. He's been in the dirt racing all day long. So he hadn't took a shower in about 4 or 5 days, I don't think. But he's living the dream.
I was going to ask you if you had any special instructions from Cash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody you had to say hi to?
No, I mean it's like the other week. Every time I leave home, I always say, if I do something good, what do you want me to say? And he'll say, I say hi to Cash or say hi to Cash Money. The other day, you say, hey, can you say hi to Cash, Josiah, and Mila Kate? So all of his classmates he wanted me to say hi to also. So he wanted me, but no, it's that's probably some of the most special times I've had in my whole life has been spending it here with him the last 1.5 or 2 years. It's the other night I run last at the Capitani Classic, pulled in early. And he ran down there and said, Paul, you did such a great job. How soon can we go on the scooter? So he wants to do that. And that's been good for me. You know how it is, Dominic. These bad nights can really wear on you. And one bad night turns into 3 bad nights. And when you can go and on Sunday unwind and he doesn't care one way or the other. I know, Jackson, we're going for a break. You're a Chiefs fan. You give me a little extra time. But yeah, when like that. Yeah, there ain't no Raider fans out here, but yeah, just keeping him on me straight and narrow and keeping my mind good. It's good. You know what it is, Dominic.
Well, I know he's cleaning up for my girls because they're around here somewhere and they're looking for him.
Hey, Brian, family, you never know, but we might be related one day.
Boy, those racers would be dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brian, good luck this weekend. We wish you nothing but the best, and I know you'll give it all you have. Good luck.
Yeah, I want to thank all you guys for coming out. You guys are really what makes this event what it is. And I was here in 2020 when there was hardly any fans. It's not the same. And you guys come up from sun up to sundown buying T-shirts, drinking beer, having a good time, and we appreciate it very much. I hope you guys have a safe, good time, and watch out for the cops. They're out it, so be safe.
We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, Donnie Schatz joins us here on the Pre-Race Show, presented by Midwest Sanitation.
The ultimate dirt racing companion is here. Follow your favorite World Racing Group series and drivers. Get live timing and scoring, low latency track radio, and instant race highlights right on your phone. The all-new World Racing Group app puts dirt racing in your pocket. Don't miss a single second. Download it now on iOS and Android.
tell you who you are.
What you can't do.
Where you don't belong.
But with the right people at your side, you write your own story.
You don't wait for success, you chase it. Sharper, tougher, faster, with every lap.
And when you give everything you've got, you don't just win. You inspire what comes next.
And welcome back to the Knoxville Raceway pre-race show presented by Midwest Sanitation. Glad to have you with us. Glad to have all these race fans here with us this afternoon as we get ready to kick off night number 1. Our next guest is none other than Donnie Schatz. Donnie, thanks for joining us here this afternoon. It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here.
I know it's a big day today. You're qualifying tonight, so what's that feel like for you today?
Well, this is the one day in racing every year that you look forward to. You know what I mean? And you look forward to having your best performances of the year tonight to get yourself set up to where you can do your second best performance of the year on Saturday, hopefully. So, yeah, it's been kind of feels like you work all year long for this day, and then if it doesn't turn out right, well, then you got to go back and work extra hard to try to get yourself in a spot to get there on Saturday.
My notes say that this is your 52nd attempt at the Knoxville Nationals. How old are you, Don?
I'm 49, Dominic.
Just.
So you obviously I heard a lot of bad things about California schools. You guys got decimal points and commas all over. So
I got a W in math.
Yeah, probably.
You weren't at the big birthday party. You just had a big birthday party last night or the night before, wasn't it?
Yeah, the CJB group, both teams, they stay out at the cabins on the lake. I've never been out there. It's a really cool atmosphere. And Barry said, hey, we want to make sure you're there. I kind of figured we were going to have some birthday cake. And I don't know, everybody gets into that stuff, me not so much. But I was very appreciative to have everybody there. It was a big group. Barry cooks a mean steak and chicken and a little bit of everything. So we had a great time and followed up with that, came up here to watch the bands that Lauren and everybody at NOS presented last night. So we got to do a few fun things and kind of start off the Nationals, hanging around all the fans and our family and friends. So it's the atmosphere that you want to see.
I try my best to stay away from Donnie when it comes to parties or anything like that. One of the times we partied, I ended up with a dog, and I still can't get rid of him. So we've had a lot of fun over the years. But talk about this place for you. I know that when you started out, you seem to catch on really quick with Danny helping you. I know you spoke a lot about that. What about this place have you just taken to? It seems like you just always find a way to make things happen here.
Man, I don't know that I really just first came here and it clicked, but I was always around great people. You know what I mean? Like you watching Danny go around here on the bottom, he was always one that looked out for me when I was younger and helped me, and Mark Kinzer and guys that were extremely good here. And then I got to come here and race with Kenny Woodruff. And, we came here right before this race one year and we ran second, which is a pretty tall feat for, having a crew chief change right before the Nationals. And we changed cars and motors and all these things all at once. So I guess once you get in that position where you're close and you know what's capable, you kind of leaped over all the other hurdles, and it just kind of kept snowball effect from there. I always... the way the tires were and the way everything was, we were kind of going in the right direction to keep everything plugging in the right direction, and rattled off a lot of years of seconds, and then finally got that first win in 06. And man, there's nothing like it. The confidence of winning it, knowing that your name's in that history book. Coming back that next year was like, holy, I won the Nationals. Now let's try to do it again. And it's kind of felt like that for 20 years, actually. And we've had some really great runs and done it a bunch of different ways, obviously. And so it's pretty rewarding, actually, but this is a tricky place, and obviously right now it's changed again, so you got to try to keep up with it, and I wish we could be as good now as we were then, but we're not, so we'll just keep working until we are.
Brian talked about the fact that he still thinks about those races when he ran second to you. How often do you think about just the races that you've run here before, the races you've won? Do you replay those in your mind very often and think back through those?
Well, that's probably my downfall to today's environment. Is when I was learning, we didn't have DIRTVision and we didn't have all these things we could go watch. You were either at the racetrack watching it. We didn't have apps on our phone that told us the laps. You stood there with a stopwatch. So if you wanted to learn from someone, you had to physically be standing there. So I'd be standing there watching the heat races that Steve and Sammy and all those guys were in. Now you can go back and rewatch all that, so you skip that slow learning curve like I had. And I don't go back and watch that because if I could apply everything that happened back then, I know what we did. I know what I did. I can go out there and do it, and it doesn't seem to be on par or at pace. So times change. You just have to change with them, and that's where the people that are around you got to rely on them for it. And I'm pretty blessed to be around a lot of great people.
It seems like obviously over the years you've raced the Nationals more than the majority of the guys in the field. Over the last few years, I feel like Saturday night has changed, where there was a time where the bottom was really dominant, a time where the top was dominant, a time where the cushion has gotten really big. That evolution throughout your career for Saturday night here, talk to me about that and how you've been able to stay fast for so long.
Well, if you sit and look at this, obviously this is the 65th. It kind of changed when they went to 50, the 50th, right? We changed everything to 50 laps. Leading up to that, it was a 40-lap race. So there's that question, will the tires make it? Will we make it on fuel? So you had to manage tires and you had to manage fuel. Because if you just went out there and flogged the tire for 20 laps, guess what happened the last 20? You were sinking and you used too much fuel. So there's a little bit of that where you got to be smart, keep the car underneath you the entire time, but still race at pace. So it was challenging. Today's environment, there's no such thing as anything but wide open, hair on fire, with fire breathing down your neck. And it's 2 25-lap races, which to me isn't so fun. I guess that's, it's their prerogative to do what they want, but everybody runs as hard as they can for 25 laps, come in, put fuel, put tires, put fresh shocks on whatever you're going to do, and go back out and do it again. And you don't see the racetrack change and fall off like maybe you used to because of the way we raced and the way the tires are today. There just doesn't seem to be tire fall off. It doesn't seem like these tires matter whether you save them or try to keep the edges on them or you just go tear everything apart. So that makes everything that much closer for everybody.
It'd be interesting to see the 50 laps with only a fuel stop instead of a tire change. I know Kyle a few years ago ran all 50 without tires, so it's shown that they can do it. I do believe that would change the dynamic a lot.
Oh, absolutely. I think it would, but I think the only reason they did is because Paul's cheap. He don't like to put tires on the car. But that's how confident you are, too, when you don't make a tire change like that. But, I would love nothing more than to see that where it puts it back into, hey, some of them races change so much at the end versus what they used to. And so, but it's Knoxville's baby. They do what they want. They do what they feel is best for the fans, and you gotta credit them for that.
What's it been like with the new team? It seems like you're having a lot of fun. Like when I see pictures of you, I see you laughing. When I see videos of you, looks like you're having a good time.
Oh, we do. Look, I love racing with Barry. Barry's someone that was always close with Rick Warner when things were good back in the day. And we always had great conversation with Barry. And, those two grew up together, so like two peas in a pod, and they complimented each other. And there was times when I remember telling Rick, like, hey, you need to not be talking to Barry. And tell Barry, hey, you need to not be talking to Rick. But you're never going to stop that. That's the nature of the beast. And, man, he's been out here a long time, been racing a long time. And the way he goes about things, the thing that sits off to me is, even though Chad Clemens is a incredible car owner, Chad doesn't come and say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. He lets Barry do it. Barry spends money as if it's his. And I'm telling you, he doesn't spend any more than he has to. If he doesn't need to get this, he doesn't need to go this. And I tell him some days, I'm like, man, we're tripping over a $10 bill here to pick up a nickel here and there. And that's just difference in opinion with people. But we do the same things when it comes to racing. But the guys that he's got with him, Eric and Wood, the atmosphere is absolutely unbelievable. We have bad nights. Everybody has bad nights. We seem to have had a few that we'd like to really forget, but there's no disarray. There's no, everybody's pumped up. Everybody's looking forward to the next race. And just like coming in this week, you could have come in here a hell of a lot better, but them guys are giving it their all. And sometimes you got to work harder to not run good than run good. And but man, what they went through to build me a team from the ground up, we're having fun. Chad's awesome. Everybody, they make me feel like it's a family team, and they've made me like a part of their family. So it's an awesome atmosphere, and we're building on that. And right now, we've kind of said, listen, we can't win a championship probably this year, unless something really drastic happens. But we need to focus on what we're doing going forward, and that's really a smart move. And that's just how Barry is. So he's looking towards next year. So there's things coming down the pipeline we're doing, changing this, they're trying this and trying that. So I'm pumped about that. We'll see how it goes, and we'll just keep building.
It seems like right off the bat you guys had some good runs there in Volusia, and your comfortability was back. You won the Outlaw Show early in the year. but I've noticed this season you just overall seem to be more comfortable than what you've been the last couple of years. Is that proof in the pudding, or what is that we're seeing, that it just seems like you're a little more consistent and running more like Donnie Schatz does?
Well, I mean, it's just the atmosphere. It's just the people you're around. You know what I mean? I guess sometimes being in one spot too long is not a good thing. It is what it is, but sometimes you need to have a reset, and obviously we had that reset. So, you know, a lot of it has to do with Barry. Really, he makes it a lot of fun for me. We ultimately, this winter was kind of a weird deal because he was doing all these little things, like trying to get me comfortable in the car the way I wanted, and I was like, well, this isn't really that hard. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna make damn sure, because he looks at every safety aspect. He's not gonna put a car out there that's not 110% safe, whether it's move this or move that or make sure the butt bar's in there. And that's why people respect him in this entire pit area, where, you know, have him come look at their car when someone gets hurt. What do you think here or there? And a lot of the safety things that are out there today are because he, you know, said, hey, this is what we need to do to fix this. And it takes people like that. And that's how he looks at things. He's absolutely methodical. He's built his own cars, and he's done all these things on his own. So he don't go to bed at night and put his eyes to the pillow. I can tell you, he goes there and tries to figure out what's next, and that's the difference.
This is a tough one right here. Neat or on the rocks, that Horizon whiskey?
Both, actually. Yeah, you do both. You do it neat first, and if you don't like that, then do it on the rocks.
I'm not man enough to do it neat. I got to have
ice. Then the third one, you just go like this. Take either or and smack your fingers in whichever one. That's how you do it. How about the 5 car? How cool is that?
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually jealous. I'm like, that's the coolest looking race car I've ever seen. I was actually giving Brenham a hard time. I was like, man, I kind of feel like you abandoned us here over at Whiskey World, abandoned us at Horizon. Now you're a vodka drinker. But anyway, it looks really cool. We're pretty pumped about that. Pretty cool to see it, and can't wait till the product comes out so we can get some to try.
Well, Donnie, we wish you nothing but luck tonight. I know there's a lot of fans here that'll be cheering on Donnie Schatz this weekend, and look forward to seeing you running up front again.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you being here.
Donnie Schatz, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take one more break, and when we come back, Logan Schuchart will join us here on the show.
If dirt was a paycheck, we'd all be leaving here rich tonight. Until that happens, it pays to use Tub-O-Towel's heavy-duty cleaning wipes. At the track, in the garage, or at home, Tub-O-Towels is tough on dirt, easy on hands, and made in the USA. Tub-O-Towels, the world's hardest working wipe. Available at all major automotive and hardware retail stores.
Can I get 4 guavas? No. The big ones. Thanks.
Ignite your taste with new NOS Energy Grand Prix Guava. Buy it now at a store near you.
And welcome back to the Knoxville Raceway pre-race show presented by Midwest Sanitation. Logan Schuchart joins us here on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Logan, you've got a big trophy that you just brought home. Tell us about that win down at Peevely.
Yeah, Peevely's one of my favorite tracks. I always love going there. We're fortunate to be able to go there in the springtime and then for the Ironman. And I always, especially for fans that are coming from Pennsylvania, I always try to tell them to go to the Ironman and then come here obviously to kind of get that build up for Saturday night. And I think it's a really cool build up. I enjoy that racetrack. I think it's awesome. I think it's a lot of fun. A driver's racetrack, super aggressive, but it gets slick and brings some finesse into play at the same time. So, and it's also our longest and I would say most grueling racetrack.
Is that trophy? Sorry, Don. Is that trophy really heavy? Is it really a weight?
Nah, I'd say it was 5 pounds.
Oh, okay.
It made me look good. I thought I probably shouldn't say it. I was on top of the wing there.
I'm like, the guy works out and he's standing up there with his strength. That's probably a heavy weight.
It wouldn't have surprised me if it was a 50-pound weight. Look at those guns.
Yeah. Well, you saw my mom and my pregnant wife throwing it around like it was nothing too.
So you've passed about 1,000 cars in the main events on Saturday here. You've run second and third. You've been second in the Kings Royal and the National Open. You obviously know how to be fast here and big races. You've won the Million. What do you need to do to win the Knoxville Nationals?
Well, I was just sitting back in the motorhome listening to Brownie up here saying about how you got to put yourself in position, and I think he nailed it. Really, it's I've come from the back many times. I think we've 9 years we've made the show, and most of those years came from either Friday or Saturday night. And I think last year was the first year not the first year, but one of the only years that we made it from our qualifying night, and it just makes it super tough if you don't do it that way. I feel like we put ourselves in a good spot. We just weren't as fast last year. Finished 5th, but we started right there. So just battled really hard, and I feel like in years past, man, we come here with a really good package, and for whatever reason just wouldn't get through our qualifying night. And I think you need a little bit of luck going your way when you come here. That pill draw means a little bit. And it's tough to come from the back of your heat race if you do qualify well, but definitely if you qualify well and put yourself in a good spot, you get through the qualifying night. Definitely feels like a weight rolls off your shoulders a little bit, and I'm just really hoping we can do that. We've had some chances here at Knoxville this year, more than usual, to build a notebook a little bit, and more of, I'd say, I kind of caught myself the last few years kind of sitting in that notebook a little bit too much from years past, and I feel like some of our struggles have come from that. So we've kind of ventured out, searched around a little bit, not just here at Knoxville, but throughout the year, and I feel like as the last 2 months have came, I've kind of started to hopefully hit on something. It feels like the podiums are coming. We run second a good bit the last month and a half, and then finally got a win this past weekend. So I'm hoping as we come back to Knoxville this week that we use the Capitani on Sunday to venture out a little bit more, and I think we learned what not to do. So that's part of it. So we'll see if we learned enough for tomorrow night, and I'm just looking forward to it. And it'll be my 13th or 14th time here at Knoxville trying to qualify for the Nationals and hopefully go after the thing. So just very grateful for the opportunity again.
It really does seem like you guys are starting to gel as a team. I know you guys have 2 new crew members, and you guys are really working hard to get speed back in the one, and it seems to be working. What have you guys found, and what have you guys noticed that's been working?
Like I said, I mean, obviously the only thing that's really changed is the tires, and I feel like you hear a lot of guys talk about it, but it's true. With the stuff that we did a few years ago, I got stuck still trying to make that work for a little while, I feel like. And it would run 7th, it would run 6th, but it seemed like we were kind of stuck in that area. And it wasn't until we started venturing out and trying some different things that we started running up front more, especially in the past month and a half. And I feel like, sprint car racing, that car is the biggest tool we have, obviously. You can have a really good driver, but if the car's not there, they're not going to make it happen. So that's why, even Kyle and Corey Day and, all those guys that, the stars of our sport, they have those big name crew chiefs behind them that do a very, very good job. And it's just we're dialing it in, and I'm fortunate that I have 3 really good people with me full time. You know, Bill Klingbeil, 110% all the time. Brian Sunby, he's had a lot of experience here at Knoxville, some time on the road, and you know, he's been around for a while. I've raced on the Outlaw Tour before, and he's doing an awesome job. And 19-year-old Carly Holmes, I mean, I feel like everybody can see, you know, her work ethic online. She's no joke, and you know, she kicks ass as far as turning wrenches. So very fortunate to have a great group behind me, and I feel like you know, we're doing a good job. We're getting better, and like you said, it's a new group, first year together, and I just hope that we can keep building that, and I think the future is bright.
So I know, you know, history is a big part of the Knoxville Nationals, and I know you appreciate the history of our sport. What was it like for you when you went downtown and saw the mural of your grandfather on the wall downtown?
Yeah, a little emotional for sure. Yeah, so I spent some time the past couple of days just watching, you know, past Knoxville Nationals, and it's cool. I try to take myself back to when I was a kid, and I remember my grandfather bringing me here for the first time, going to Sprint Car Hall of Fame, and I believe I was here for the first time when he was inducted in the Hall of Fame. I don't remember much of that because I was a pretty young kid, but he brought me back before I started racing sprint cars, so I had to be either, you know, not quite a teenager or a pretty early teenager, and watch some races. I'm pretty sure it was the Nationals in the Hall of Fame with Doug Wolfgang and him, and listen to those guys tell stories back and forth. And you know, I just think about those times because that's what, to me, it's like, man, I just wanted to be a race car driver so bad. Listening to those guys and hearing those stories, it just fueled that fire in myself to want to do the same thing that those guys did and travel up and down the road and race sprint cars and, you know, hopefully chase crown jewel events. And there's nothing like the Knoxville Nationals. There's nothing like, you know, I remember rolling up and down the road here, you know, riding my bike as a kid when I did get to come for the first time, and just seeing the people and the cars and hearing the cars start up, and just takes me back to when I was a little kid and where the love myself came from to want to be here.
And now you've got a baby on the way, which is really exciting for you as you continue to grow your family. You and Summer have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, man, I'm super stoked. I'm excited. So the more and more as time goes on. At first, I feel like it was not a surprise. It wasn't like we didn't try not to, but it was like, it kind of feels like, you know, is this real? Is this really happening? And obviously, I can tell now. I can see it in her. I got to feel him for the first time yesterday. So pretty emotional, exciting time for myself. And as time goes on, the more we get closer and closer, I'm just really excited and can't wait.
Isn't it funny at that point in your life when you realize, hey, I've got a little one coming into the world, where the focus almost goes double? Like, I want to show my kids what I've accomplished and all these things. How cool would that be to have a Knoxville Nationals trophy to show your son?
Yeah, especially because he'll be in victory lane for the first time and can say, hey, man, there you were, you're in your mom's belly. Or, yeah, I can't wait. And now I look around more and I see other drivers with their kids, and you're thinking, obviously, that's going to be me. I know you yourself do that. And it's just, yeah, it's something before it happened, you know, all I ever want to do is drive race cars. That's all I ever thought about. And now I see, you know, like the little kids of the other drivers. I'm like, man, I can't wait for that. It's going to be so cool to have my little guy there. And I think about, you know, obviously, you know, if he's anything like me, he's going to want to race. So maybe we'll do the go-kart thing all over again. And who knows what the future holds. But it just, you know, your perspective of everything just changes a total 180, and you know, obviously it's not going to be all about you anymore, and I can't wait. I'm super excited.
Is there room for a dirt track at the new shop?
Yeah, I've already been thinking about that. I don't know if I can make a go-kart track, but if I can't do that, I'm at least doing an RC car track.
There you go. Well, you've got a lot going on this week, and we're really excited to see how you do, and a lot of momentum behind your team coming off that win at Peevely. Wish you nothing but luck. Yeah, thank you, Dom. Thanks. Appreciate you guys. And yeah, Tony, you guys do a great job. Appreciate listening to you. Thanks to all the fans. Super excited to be here. Thankful for the opportunity to be racing the Knoxville Nationals again. And just really excited as a driver, somebody that loves this sport, to see what it's becoming. And even like I said, the first time I was here as a little kid, what it meant to me, how big it felt to me. And then it seems like it just keeps growing and getting bigger. And that's, for a driver, that feels really good. So super excited, and I hope you all have a great week. Logan Schuchart, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow we have Sheldon, Buddy Kofoy, JJ Hickel, and Ryan Timms joining us. We also want to say Brian Vandermeiden over there from Midwest Sanitation. Glad to have you there. We look forward to having you all back here tomorrow night. Not too much longer, and it's going to be race time here tonight on night number 1. Thanks for joining us on the pre-race show.
World of Outlaws are back at Houston Speedway. Friday through Sunday, September 4th through the 6th for the LG Everest Houston Shootout. The greatest sprint car drivers in the world wrap up the season as D&I Railroads, Maryland Royce, and Ace Ready Mix bring you 3 big nights featuring a $25,000 top prize. Get your tickets and campsites now at HoustonSpeedway.com. That's 3 action-packed nights of the greatest show on dirt in the LG Everest Houston Shootout, September 4th through the 6th.
Unveiled at PRI, 5-Star introduced an all-new sprint car body engineered using advanced CFD aero analysis, validated through on-track testing using real-time airflow data.
There's no reason why anybody will want to run anything else than this 5-Star sprint car body.
Designed to fit Maxim, XXX, Schnee Lawson, JR1, J&J, DRC, Spike, and more. 5-Star's all-new sprint car body. The new standard in sprint car technology.
Want more wins? Here's some tips. Brake late with our powerful titanium piston brake kits featuring our VRT Max rotor and all titanium hardware. Stay on track with the lightest, strongest, and safest rear torsion arm ever made in our exclusive AccuLength W-Link. Hold it all together with our huge selection of high-strength precision titanium fasteners boxed up custom for your car in part-labeled bags. Make the decision for precision. Smith Titanium. We winnovate.
It's ARP fasteners for whatever you race. From 2 wheels to 4. Off-road, on-road, even water. From the flat track to the salt flats. Grassroots racers, weekend warriors, and pros alike trust ARP. Made in America quality, family owned and operated. When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com. No matter what you race.
DIRTVision would like to thank our friends at Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts for helping us get from track to track.
The Knoxville Nationals is the granddaddy of them all. But if you want to stay up late and race with the best Saturday night, you better be good early.
Bottom of 3 and 4 on lap number 2, and it is quick time.
A year to prepare, you can bring the polish. You can have the most power. But if you can't put it together for one perfect lap, none of it matters. Because of its unique format, you have to be good straight off the trailer, because Knoxville doesn't give you a grace period. From the very first lap, you're either building your road to Saturday night or digging yourself out of a hole.
When it began, it was called the Super Modified Championships. The year was 1961. We had a 2-day show that paid the winner $5,000. Now, 65 years later, it's $200,000. That's the first place prize just to make the show at that beautiful facility, the Knoxville Raceway, pays $15,000. Drivers that grew up idolizing their heroes now race side by side with them as we welcome you to the 65th edition of the NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals presented by Casey's. Hello, everyone at home watching on DIRTVision, and for everyone here in the concourse, welcome to all of you. It is time to go on a day where the temperature says, Connor Wade, it's only 87 degrees. Feels like 100, but it feels like heaven, doesn't it?
It's been like that all week. You stand outside for about 5 minutes and you're covered in sweat, but that's what the Knoxville Nationals is all about, and that has not stopped people, thousands of people, tens of thousands of people from coming from all over the country. And you said it, Knoxville in August feels like home, not just because we're at the Knoxville Raceway and the prestige is high, but we see people that we only see once a year. We have special traditions that only take place once a year, and those are the things that makes the Knoxville Nationals what it is.
It is an absolute family reunion with a little $200,000 first place prize on the end of it Saturday night. No better place to be. So coming up in the next 45 minutes, we'll talk about the format. We'll eventually get it to the voices of the Knoxville National, John Gibson, Blake Walker, as well as Tony Bachhoven, the guys in the pits, Mike Roberts, who's going to be covering the pits with you, and of course, Wade Onger. But first, we want to talk about the giant elephant in the room. The top story heading into this year's Knoxville Nationals. He's young, he's fearless, and he is hungry for more Knoxville glory. I'm, of course, talking about Ryan Timms. So if you guys like Ryan Timms, put your hands together out there. If you're in the concourse, thank you very much. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. It's really a three-headed monster. Let's start with the defending Knoxville Nationals champion. This kid was good.
1 year ago, nobody would have predicted that 18-year-old Ryan Timms, who had never won a race with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series, would break through and win the Knoxville Nationals. But that's exactly what he did. After a good season of weekly competition here at Knoxville, well, guess what? In 2026, he's come back even better, dominating here on a weekly basis in all of his 410 races and a couple 360 races here and there. He's arguably the favorite here. All the laps he's turned at this racetrack really made Timms stand out above the rest of the field. This week. So Timms, obviously there's been some drama and some stories that we're going to talk about that have taken place the last couple days, but he truly does come in my opinion, as the favorite to go back to back.
And we'll have more to support those coming up in just a little bit, but phase 2 of that elephant in the room, now he's the 360 Knoxville Nationals champion. Only Danny has done that. Lasowski, of course. He's the first guy, though, to do it in succession, so his record run continues.
Yeah, the Tin team had a really impressive 360 Nationals all around. Obviously, they went head-to-head with Aaron Reitzel, which is a team that's been really fast in 2026. And, they don't run 360s very often, so it was impressive to see how they came in last week. And, you've got to make some changes with the race car whenever you put a 360 under the hood. But they did those well, and now they're back to what they're comfortable and familiar with, which is the 410 here this week. So I'm excited to see what they got.
And, of course, the giantest elephant in the room is a murmur you hear in every corner of this place. There's sprint car heroes, there's sprint car villains. Everybody likes to play one side or the other. Used to be Kyle Larson and David Gravel, but now it's Kyle Larson and Ryan Timms, who seems to be handling it very well so far.
Yeah, and I would expect this to fizzle out. In my opinion, the Knoxville Nationals is bigger than any rivalry, bigger than any conflict or disagreement that took place in the past, no matter how recent it was. But obviously, a bit of a conflict after the Monday night race at Oskaloosa. Larson and Timms battling for the lead. Larson throws a big slide job in 3 and 4, does not clear Timms, damages his nose wing, and ends up winning the race. Timms brings it home in second. Timms frustrated after the race, but we saw this last year with David Gravel and Kyle Larson. The first time they were on the racetrack back together after the King's Royal was the Knoxville Nationals, and it didn't come to fruition hardly at all. They didn't even really get on the racetrack near each other at all during the week. And Timms and Larson are going to go on different prelim nights. We know Timms put out a statement earlier today apologizing for some of his comments post-race. So I really do believe the Knoxville Nationals is bigger than any conflict like that. I don't think it boils over, but the Knoxville Nationals is famous for us knowing anything can happen.
It's true. And of course, he had it going on with Aaron Reitzel with the 360 Nationals. That race went clean and green. They were actually very complimentary of each other post-race. Yeah. Avenue of Champions. He got his pole today. How cool a moment was that?
Well, it has to be for any 19-year-old. I remember Ryan Timms as a Port City micro kid, who grew up in Oklahoma and then broke into sprint cars, was good for a little bit, and then, went back and ran midgets and had some ups and downs there. But to see him come as far as he has in the last year and a half, 2 years, it's absolutely incredible. And I can't imagine being 19 years old and walking into the grandstands at Knoxville Raceway and seeing my name, my face, my Victory Lane picture from the Knoxville Nationals on a pole, and then look down and see Steve Kinzer, Donnie Schatz, Daniel Lasowski, and so many legends of sprint car racing.
There's certainly a lot on the line for Ryan Timms. As earlier, speaking of that Avenue of Champions, you had an opportunity to go take a walk underneath the bleachers here at the Knoxville Raceway to talk with Ryan about a near vertical career that is still going up.
So now you've come in 2026, you've ran here weekly, you've wrapped up a track championship essentially, wins in both 410s and 360s. Have you been even better this year?
I think overall we've been better, just kind of more polished, I guess would be the word. I don't think we really have, I think maybe 1 or 2 more wins to show for it. Maybe our average finish is a little bit better. But yeah, I think we've been better. But when it comes to the Nationals, like I said, everything's got to go your way. Anything can happen. So.
And nowadays you race with guys like Kyle and guys like Donnie and Aaron Reitzel and David and Buddy. You've had some really good battles with all of them, be it at a outlaw high limit race or here at Knoxville. What competitor brings out the best in you, do you think?
I don't know if I would single out any one person. I think you're always kind of just going against yourself. But I would say probably Kyle Larson. He's arguably the best sprint car driver in the world. So knowing when you got him behind you, you know he's not going to make any mistakes. He's going to capitalize on any little mistakes you make, and it just makes you drive that much precise and harder.
And if you want to see that entire 7-minute piece with Connor Wade, I encourage you to check out all of our socials. It was a great walk as we take a look at what Ryan Timms has done at Knoxville this year. Simply incredible. 5 wins, 11 top 5s. I mean, he's flat gets it done here. And this is a guy, Connor, that could have picked a national tour to go with, but he decided to continue to work on his racecraft. Still with only 1 World of Outlaw win. Can you imagine a second one being a second Knoxville Nationals title?
Man, I don't know that I would have ever predicted in my lifetime we'd be talking about somebody who has 2 career Knoxville National or 2 career World of Outlaws wins, and both of them being the Knoxville Nationals. Ryan Timms still has a long way to go this week, if that's going to be the case, but it is a very real possibility that would happen. He started the 2025 Knoxville Nationals Victory Lane trip off with getting a prelim win on Wednesday. He needs to do the same or something similar, have a good run tonight if he's going to be the top guy at the end of the week.
So we'll see how it goes with him coming up in qualifying. Obviously, he does go tonight. Another guy that goes tonight is David Gravel. Can David Gravel refine his magic here and get the 2 car back into victory lane?
I believe he can. David is known for rising to the occasion in big moments. I feel like we've seen that a lot the last couple of years, his last 2 championship seasons with the World of Outlaws. I feel like David's had race-winning cars here the last 2 seasons, podiums in 3 of the last 4 Knoxville Nationals, but he's had bad luck on prelims. He's had to start deep. He's been in the B-Main was in the B-Main the year before last, and then last year obviously had to run hard knots and start way deep in the field. So his starting positions the last couple of years have not been good. That has to improve if David Gravel's going to win it. I don't believe you can win Saturday night from outside. I'm going to say around the top 12 starting spots.
Wasn't it just last year? Turn 1, heat race number 4. David's off to a pretty good start until he and Hunter Schoenberg get together, and that's what
exactly
started
right.
that?
Yeah. It's obviously set his week back. He wasn't able to recover points later on in the night through the alphabet soup and in the feature, but came back on Friday, won hard knots, and had to start deep in the field on Saturday. So that was a tough break for sure. But he's leading World of Outlaws points. He's in the double-digit columns and wins for 2026. So even though maybe that 2 car hasn't been as good as they'd like to be the last couple of months, David Gravel's still David Gravel.
22nd to 2nd in 2023, 21st to 3rd last year. He's hoping to avoid that, but you know what? Before David Gravel can even think about Saturday, he's got to make sure that hump day is a smooth day today.
You want to have smooth prelim nights, and last 2 to 3 years we had rough prelim nights. So just looking for a normal night, us hopefully qualifying well. Sometimes the bottom's the pure dominant groove in qualifying, and then it gets real thin and hard to run, or it could be greasy. They could have water down there. That one guy splashes out and it messes the bottom completely up, or maybe your car's not that good in the little bit of greasy grip down there, and yeah, you just never know. Definitely qualifying here is some of the toughest to do. I feel like Eldora is just like way easier to qualify at, but here you really got to be on your game. I feel like we're very, very capable of doing it, and yeah, just our goal today is to put ourselves in position for Saturday. It's the most pressure, the most prestigious, the one everybody wants to win the most. So, pressure's at all-time high. It's unique. You unload everything in the pits, and you sit in a super hot weather down there under a tent, and yeah, just this is the biggest week of the year, and we always look forward to it. And yeah, it goes by so fast, and the list of winners are small, and then the list of multi-time winners are extremely small. So definitely, I think Todd wants it bad, but Cody wants it bad. We all want it bad. So I feel like we've been close and been very, very capable of winning. We just got to go out, put ourselves in position first, and then go and execute after that.
And of course, that will start with qualifying. We'll have more on that format coming up just after this. But though this was a year, Connor, where the Outlaws were supposed to have more opportunity at Knoxville Raceway than they have in the past. But it hasn't worked out that way.
Yeah, in my opinion, they added that race Memorial Day weekend, which was great. Loved being here. It was a cool deal. But we had one night rain out in June, so we've had the same amount of races at Knoxville as we would have had in previous seasons. And not only that, but, the high limit guys, the guys that run here on a weekly basis, well, they were able to come and, have weekly shows whenever their races rained out, or, the guys are running here every week for the weekly guys. So I actually feel like the Outlaws are at a disadvantage this season. I feel like some of the other guys have had more laps here. A lot of them came for the 4th of July show, the Dana Lasasti Classic, or the Lasasti Family Classic, stuff like that. So I feel like the David Gravels, the Carson Macedos, the Donnie Schatzes are at a disadvantage lap-wise at this racetrack this year, but we'll see how it plays out.
It's always about the format at the Knoxville Nationals, just as it was last week at the 360 Knoxville Nationals. Same kind of deal going on here as we've got hot laps, qualifying, 5 heats, this time with an invert of 8. We've got a C, a B, and an A main, perhaps. Everything, though, getting assigned a point value tonight, and it all starts with qualifying because 200 is a great way to start if you can get quick time.
You hear guys say all the time, your 2 qualifying laps on your prelim night are the 2 most important laps of your week for the Knoxville Nationals, and some will even tell you that's the 2 most important laps of the season. Guys that determine how their season goes based off of how they do at the Knoxville Nationals. But 2 qualifying laps, very important. You've got to earn those qualifying points. Now, you want to start at the back of a heat race, because that means you qualify good. You want to start somewhere in probably row 3, row 4, because that's where the invert is. So if you want to start deep in your heat race, you want to then get an opportunity to pass cars and gain more points there. So qualifying, very important. Points the name of the game at the Nationals. That's just how it's always been. And you might be deep, you might have to pass race cars, but that's a challenge, right? And
well, that's what race car drivers are supposed to do,
exactly.
Right?
Good race car drivers and good race cars can move around and pass guys at any time. So that's what we want to see, and you have to drive hard every time you're on the racetrack in a competitive race. So cream always rises to the top, and it's fun to watch them get after it.
Certainly a double-edged sword. Racers don't like it until, of course, they get that nice point total. But if you're one of the fans that are like right here or all through here, are going to be sitting in that massive grandstand, you just absolutely love this format. So we'll see how it goes tonight. Who are some good early pill draws, by the way? We do want to let fans know about that because that's very important when it comes to qualifying.
Yeah, pill draw taking place. Corey Day is going to be the second car out. So I'm not sure if we're going to go 2 or 3 car qualifying. I think we'll probably be single car is how they usually do it. But Corey Day is going to be the second car out. He obviously has won at Knoxville before and been sneaky good here at the Nationals the last couple of years. So I look for him. But David Ravel, Rico Abreu, Donnie Schatz, all guys that David and Donnie have won the Nationals before. Rico's a favorite to do it after running second last year, trying to do it for the first time. All those guys going out early. Further on back, though, some good names that are buried. Sheldon Hanshield, James McFadden, Giovanni Selzy. They're going to have to qualify really, really late and hope there's enough left in the racetrack that they can get around and lay down a good time.
So are some of those names that Connor just mentioned on our notables list? We're going to take a quick time out, but when we come back, we will focus on those names and see if they made the cut. It is the opening night, Brent qualifying night at the Knoxville Nationals, and we'll be back with more on Pre-Race on DIRTVision in just a moment.
You boys up for a challenge? How about this? Anything you can do, I can do faster. Okay, bro. I'm gnarlier than you. I get more sideways. I'm louder. Much louder. I get wilder than you. You sure about that, bro?
Harder. Slicker. Cooler. Tougher. Let's go.
So what you got?
I've been told my whole life that I'm pretty fast. For a girl. Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's not true.
Jay Anderson gets it done.
Because with the right team, you write your own story. So no, I'm not fast for a girl. I'm fast, period.
Stay up to date on the greatest shows on dirt with text messages from DIRTVision. Visit alerts.dirtvision.com to sign up. Get the latest info on your favorite National Racing Series broadcasts, plus those from our premier weekly tracks. Sign up now at alerts.dirtvision.com.
It's the year of our Lord 2026, and earlier this year, the United States turned 250 years. Is there anything more patriotic than racing sprint cars at the Knoxville Raceway at the 65th NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals? I say no. As we welcome you back to our pre-race show, it's Connor, it's Dave, and we're talking about notable drivers. I suspect that a few of the guys you brought up are probably going to show up on this short list coming up here.
Yeah, most definitely. There are some good ones in the field. Obviously, no prelim night is easy. There's good cars in the field each and every night, but 47 total cars signed in tonight. We see four former Knoxville Nationals champions on this list, and David Gravel, Donnie Schatz, Sammy Swindell, 50th and final 410 Knoxville Nationals, and Ryan Timms. But how about Sheldon Hanschild, who's had such a good year? Chris Wyndham won with the Outlaws last season. Of course, Rico Abreu, the high limit champion, second in the Nationals last year. Corey Day, who we talked about. Chase Dietz, the winningest driver in sprint car racing this season. And of course, Giovanni Scelzi, who loves racing at Knoxville. It's now his home track after he moved to Iowa a few years ago. So some really good names in the field tonight.
Well, earlier in this show, we talked about Kyle Larson, we talked about David Gravel, we talked about Ryan Timms. Sprint car villains, sprint cars heroes. But you know what? Long before there ever was a sprint car villain, well, there has always been Sammy Swindell. And Sammy is getting set for his 50th start tonight.
And Sammy Swindell is the ultimate villain in sprint car racing. There will never be another villain in sprint cars like Sammy Swindell. You just look at the polarizing figure that he's been in sprint car racing for so long. It's absolutely incredible. I don't think we'll see a personality like him ever again. But 3 World of Outlaws championships, countless wins, and bounced around between several different race cars throughout his career, Dave. So it's really impressive. This is a guy that loves racing. Nothing's slowing him down. The guy's 70 years old now and doesn't want to stop racing sprint cars. This is going to be his last 410 Knoxville Nationals, still going to be involved in the sport, but I got to spend some time with Sammy earlier this week, and just such a pleasure to be around. So passionate about this sport, so smart. The knowledge that won him so many races over the years has not gone away. So cool to see him. Did a kind of a gold flavored car, gold livery for this 50th Knoxville Nationals that he says is going to be his last one, and excited to see what he can do this week. I hope he has fun.
We've got a soundbite from that conversation coming up in just a bit, but first, before we get there, I want to ask you, where do you think that Sammy will rank in terms of influential sprint car drivers. He is one of the three that's got a 360 and a 410 Nationals win. Maybe not as many as he want, but this is an influential figure. Like him, love him, hate him, whatever.
Yeah,
I love him, by the way.
I would absolutely agree. You know, people can sit for years and argue, you know, who has the most talents, who has the most accomplishments, and, you know, you weigh accomplishments differently based off of circumstances and stuff like that. So in terms of influence on the sport, Steve's number one and Sammy's number two, and it's probably not even close, and I don't think anybody will ever take away those top two spots from those guys.
Well, Sammy Swindell, 50 years of learning just here at the Knoxville Nationals alone. Earlier you had a conversation with him, and we want to take you now to some of the keys that he told you of what he would like to tell the next generation about what it means and how to get to year 50 at the Knoxville Nationals.
Well, you got to finish. It's a big thing. And learn how to do that. You can't win if you can't finish. And you got to learn where the limit is. You know, like people say, I'm going to give it 110. When you give it 110, you're going to wreck. You're going to tear something up. You can't go over 100. So you got to learn that and try to, like I said, I want to get my car, if my 90% will beat their 100%, I got them beat, because it's hard to do 100% every lap. And if I can hit that 85 to 90% race, you know, chances are more than 50% of the time I'll win.
It's very easy to deal with Sammy Swindell all these years later. 20 years ago, though, it wasn't the case. But age has certainly brought a little bit of mellow to him, and it's certainly coming out with what he thinks the next generation needs to do.
It has. I think everybody's done a little bit of a soft side, but, you know, I appreciate the time that Sammy took to sit down in a quiet room whenever he wasn't thinking about race cars, wasn't working on a race car, with no people around, and, you know, kind of open the curtain up a little bit into his mind. It was a really intriguing conversation, and in celebration of Sammy's 50th Knoxville Nationals, we're going to have Sammy Swindell features and content all week long here at Knoxville for our DIRTVision broadcast. So I'm excited for everybody to see those.
That is very exciting. It'll be something worth tuning into besides the racing, which will be off the charts with the notables we just talked about. Let's talk about one of those now. He is the guy that is chasing Steve Kinzer. Will always be chasing Steve Kinzer, but he recognizes Steve as one of those guys. And of course, talking about Donnie Schatz. If he were able to get number 12 this year, that would be cool. But this was a guy that used to own this racetrack. Why do you think that was?
Well, just the precedent that he set will never be touched again in Knoxville Nationals history, that's for sure. The 10-time World of Outlaws champion, but, you know, much of that domination, you know, he and Ricky Warner had a great package at this racetrack. Donnie's a guy that just eats, sleeps, and breathes not only driving sprint cars, but winning sprint car races. And, you know, he just had a knack for rising in big moments and did not feel any pressure when it came to this whatsoever. So the run that Donnie had, you know, all those years of top two and 11 trips to victory lane at this racetrack was so much fun to watch. And obviously things are a lot different for Donnie in this year's Knoxville Nationals, but I can tell you what's not different is what's going on inside his head. The mind, the drive, the fire, and the focus has not changed for Donnie Schatz. He, in those categories that I just listed, he's the same as he was back in 2006, 7, 8, 9 when he won a bunch of Knoxville Nationals.
He's a guy that's got legacy, he'll never be touched, handles the pressure like nobody else, but performance, that seems to be the big key. And for him, it's going to come down to a time trial lap as well. And this is something they've been struggling at a little bit this year.
Yeah, they've struggled, you know, at times throughout 2026, particularly I think the last couple of months. You know, they were really strong, I think, early on in the season. Several top 10s, some podiums. They got that win at Talladega in March. The last couple of months, though, have been a struggle. They haven't qualified good. They haven't started inside the top 10 in a lot of races. So that's an area that they need to focus on. And I think that they are. I think that, you know, they're not ignoring that. They know what changes they need to make, and they did make some changes the other night with the Capitani Classic, and they made those changes after hot laps and qualifying, and it really paid off. They passed a lot of cars late in the night, you know, throughout the heat race, throughout the B in the feature, and that's probably the best we've seen Donnie roll around Knoxville this year, in my opinion, and he said earlier today that he felt incredibly good. So when he's happy about his race car, you know, a confident and happy Donnie Schatz is pretty dangerous, especially at Knoxville. So, you know, like the conversation I had with him earlier today, and I think the changes that he and Barry Jackson made are really going to pay off.
Let's go back to that conversation. As a very candid Donnie Schatz talked about his abilities to perhaps reign here at the Knoxville Nationals one more time.
Yeah, absolutely, I can do it. You know, it's you got to get there, and that's the tough part. Getting there is the tough part. I think any night, I think that's the way you see racing is right now. It's so competitive, and I think there are a lot of people out here that'll do desperate things to try to get to that point. So that's another hurdle you have to overcome. And I think we see the way people race now, and some of the other things that happen. That's something that takes into factor too. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I've won 11 of these. one of my heroes. I ran into him last night with 12 of them, and I still remember the 11th one I won. He was the first one standing back here, giving me a hug, congratulating me, because that's what he means to the sport, and that's what he means to this. So to me, it's just trying to win this one race. It's trying to win this Nationals. Whether we do it or not is irrelevant. We're here. We're going to give it our best shot, and I'm having fun. If you can go in the races and you know you're not going to win every night, but you got to put your best foot forward. And some nights it's going to be 16th. Unfortunately, you have to be happy with that and try to build on that. And that's what we're doing. For these guys to do this for me, build a team from scratch, which has been an absolute tall task. By the time we get all this stuff in place and what we have, I think we're all pretty happy with what's here. Now we just got to get the little fine tune happening and keep building on the performance. But we got an awesome group of people, and that awesome group of people enjoys being around each other no matter what the result.
We're going to talk about it until it happens. If he gets the next one, it would tie the king with 12. But based on everything that's going on with the youth movement, how important would a 12th Knoxville Nationals be for Donnie Schatz and for the sport of sprint car racing?
Well, it's a number that could never be reached again. Hard to say for sure, but I feel like 12 Knoxville Nationals wins by Steve and potentially Donnie would be really hard to beat, I feel like. So, I think there's people already that look up to him whenever it comes to the Knoxville Nationals, and young drivers like Ryan Timms that say, man, I just want to accomplish half of what Donnie did here in Knoxville. So I feel like there's people already like that. But to just say that, we live in an era where somebody is tied with the king in terms of Knoxville Nationals wins, I think that would be really special and sentimental to look back on and say. So, Donnie knows that his back's up against the wall in some aspects. He's got his work cut out for him. He needs to perform better than he's performed throughout 2026, but he knows that better than anybody, and he's up for it and capable of it.
Let's talk a little bit about Rico Abreu now. This is a guy that I would have thought would have won a Knoxville Nationals by now, based on how he runs.
Yeah, he's been racing a long time. Rico's been in sprint cars for several years. He's won big races and competed in these events for a long time. But the last couple seasons, the way his career's come alive ever since pairing up with Ricky Warner, who had all that success with Donnie Schatz, and now he's got the backing of Tony Stewart and his program and his infrastructure that he's built with his team for several decades. So TSR's obviously won this race several times. Danny Lasasi did it for TSR. Donnie Schatz did it for TSR. So it's a culture that knows how to win the Knoxville Nationals, and I do think kind of being around that culture is going to help Rico Abreu ascend into Knoxville Nationals victory lane, whether that's this year or in the future. But Rico's a guy that loves coming to Knoxville every single chance he can get. If High Limit rains out or if he's on an off weekend, you can bet that he's going to come run the weekly show at Knoxville, because this is the top race on his bucket list to win.
You can make the argument that not really much has changed for Rico Abreu, but it has with the addition of driving for Tony Stewart. Did that maybe set him back briefly, do you think? Do you think they're still trying to find their mojo now with all that new equipment now owned by Tony Stewart?
Yes and no. I think some places their baseline is good enough that they can unload and be competitive and win just about any night. There's other places that they go where maybe they aren't, as strong right out of the gate, and it takes them a little bit to build a notebook. But, that's also just part of it. Things change. What works at one track one time is not always going to work the next. And, that's going to come with just experience and being out on the road. Rico's only his third year running full-time on a national tour. So it is going to take time to get to the point where you are a podium car every single place you go. So overall, I don't feel like it's set him back. You can, be kind of nitpicky and find select areas here and there where maybe it has. But in the big picture, particularly here at Knoxville, Ricky's setup here is so good. Rico's done enough laps here that I don't think that holds them back at all this week.
Certainly more than good enough to win the Knoxville Nationals this year. One thing he is as well is a great soundbite. Here's what he had to say earlier about running tonight.
My car is extremely fast, so just about putting all the laps together, and I'm really eager to get out there tonight on our qualifying night. Such a different style format tonight to what we're used to racing in all of the national series across the country. So with the inversion and the heat races, you really have to, navigate through passing some cars. So it really, the intensity really gets up. And, I'm just looking forward just to the whole Knoxville Nationals experience, with my team. And, I feel that I really just try to focus on myself and what my car needs and my team needs, and really being hands-on with everything. So the big things is just getting yourself in position. That's the biggest part of this race. You see, the best racers in the world when it comes to sprint car racing come into this race, and things unravel really quickly, no matter where you're at and who you are. And so it's just, coming in, focusing on my stuff, getting through our hot laps qualifying heat race feature on our prelim night, just each step at a time. And I think these races play out, and then the winner is going to be the best car, and the cream does rise to the top when it comes to this race, and this racetrack just puts on great racing. So I'm looking forward to just getting up and racing with the best.
So how will it fare for for Rico Abreu? He is one of 48 drivers that are in competition tonight, a star-studded field as Brent qualifying now. We're going to take a quick break here on the DIRTVision pre-race show. When we come back, Dominic Scelzi joins the show to talk about his brother and a whole lot more as we get closer to the first green flags of the 2026 NOS Energy Knoxville Nationals.
We got it all at shopdgr.com. We got koozies, t-shirts, crew necks, hoodies, die-casts, pullback cars. We got everything. Check it out right here.
There's another gorgeous Knoxville Raceway sunset coming here in just a few hours as we welcome everybody at the track and at home on DIRTVision to the opening night, Brent qualifying night of the 65th NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals, presented by Casey's. Where the good news is for the guy that's joining us now, Dominic Scelzi, hey, the temperature is down to just 85 now, feels like 93. For a couple of fat guys like you and me, it feels much better now.
Man, I'm telling you what, earlier in the day when it was so hot, I was thinking this is going to have to move to an AC location because I am not built for this heat.
So let's talk about your brother. He's making his qualifying appearance tonight, now drives for Spire Motorsports, picked up a 360 Knoxville Nationals win. Is there any bigger fan of Giovanni Scelzi than you?
Definitely not. I scream for my brother pretty hard, so I try to watch when I'm away from everybody. But, didn't have the best pill draw, drew a 65 tonight, which is sometimes a tough thing to overcome at this event. But when we look back, when he won his preliminary night in 2024 and ran second to Kyle, he had drawn a 58 or a 59. So from the back row like that, it does get difficult, but it can be done. I really believe that this is his best track, and he's been really comfortable. They've had a lot of speed since the Tusky win. They won a preliminary night at the 360 Nationals, so I think right now is a great time for the Nationals for him. I just hope that things go right, because this race, unlike anything else, you have to be lucky and good, and you don't get any second chances.
This is obviously year one for Spire Motorsports and Sprint Car Racing, so this is a new team that was built over the off-season. I feel like it'd be a big feat for a new team that was built less than a year prior to come out and win the Knoxville Nationals. But why do you think Gio and Eric Prutzman, just with how good Gio is at this place, how much he loves it, and Eric Prutzman's success and the program that they have, why can they defy those odds?
Actually, it's funny, on one of our podcasts early in the year, I'm like, I think my brother's going to win the Knoxville Nationals with this pairing. And has no reason other than the communication that Eric and my brother have. is incredible. It's very rare to see the talking and the changes that have gone on. They have made so many changes with that team since day one, and now we're basically half of season in. A lot of changes have happened, and they've built continuously. He's been in the top 10 nearly every single night for the high limit season, and they've had some rough nights, when they ventured off and ran some outlaw stuff, but it was all to test and all to grow the team. They've done that successfully. I think, after his win a few weeks ago for $100,000, they're really starting to gel. I think my brother has his confidence back, and he'll even tell you this is his best racetrack. So he's always kind of done well here at the Nationals. He's made 7 in a row, I believe. So my money's always on him, but if you're a bet man, I don't think you can go wrong with the 77 car.
Well, sometimes that change is necessary. So let's talk about the team he came from, KCP Racing. This is a home event for them. They've got Sheldon Hodenshield in the seat right now, and Sheldon has been turning up the heat. He's up to second in the World of Outlaw points. This place hasn't been his best place, but he's coming in with the best possibilities that he's ever had.
Yeah, so it's kind of odd, that whole scenario with the 18. Ripper, it's his second tour of duty there. He was there years ago with Ian Madsen, and they had quite a bit of success. They ran the Outlaw Tour. Sheldon's been with Ripper before. They've been successful. Sheldon's been successful elsewhere. These guys are amazing this year. I mean, really have stepped it up. I think it's the best season I've ever seen them have by a long shot. They're continuing to knock down wins left and right. They're just really doing a great job all around. The team's gelled. They're fast. His qualifying efforts are great. Sheldon was one of the guys that I had kind of circled this week. I really think that 18 team is hitting on all 8 cylinders, and they're going to be really tough to beat. I definitely think this is going to be Sheldon's best Nationals yet.
How much do you think Sheldon's engine package that he's got in 2026 has raised his confidence on and off the racetrack?
I agree 100%. I remember when my brother was in the 18 car, they had a lot of fantastic runs, especially here at Knoxville. And the engine program was a huge asset there for him. And Matt Barbara, he's been a team owner for a long time. Him and Brett, and they run a tight ship over there. So it's a good team. They're based here in Iowa and Des Moines. So I'm looking for big things out of them. And I just really think Sheldon. Actually, a few years ago, I'd said if Sheldon could cut out some of the errors or the crashes, he could run for a championship. And I really think we're seeing that now early on in this new partnership.
Absolutely.
Certainly, you got to put Sheldon Hodenshield on a list of drivers that they're most dangerous to win that hasn't won. Another guy that could be on that list is James McFadden. He could come out of nowhere and do this. What do you think about James McFadden?
Yeah, Jimmy might be from a different part of the country, but he's great at Knoxville. He won the Cappy last year in the 21 car. He won the 360 Nationals with who was that? KKR a few years ago. So they've had a lot of success. They're really good together in the 21 deal, and it's not full time. So I know James, he feels better when it's not a job. Right now it's for fun. He was probably at Dingos last night. So, I think it's a little bit different for him. The 21 team, I imagine they're probably going to be on Toyotas this weekend. So they've got a great engine packet. Drew Warner, he learned from the greatest ever. So I really think that the 21 car is going to be tough, and they do have a really good shot at winning the Knoxville Nationals.
But not to play devil's advocate here, but on the flip side of that, you mentioned it's not a job for him. Does it hurt him that he doesn't race as much as he used to? Does it hurt him he doesn't have as much laps this season or at Knoxville as, Rico Abreu, David Ravel, Ryan Timms, and could it hurt the 21 car as well?
It's a great point you make, and I think every guy's different. Some guys, they thrive off racing 80, 90, 100 times a year. The more they're in the seat, the better they feel, their confidence stays up. Some guys are better when they get to go to the beach and hang out. I really think with what James has accomplished over the last year and a half in Australia, 2 years in Australia, what was it, last season or 2 seasons ago, he won every single event. He almost entered in Australia. I think James is one of those guys that he's raced enough. He's been on the Outlaw Tour, he's been on the High Limit Tour, he's won everywhere. I think he's to a point in his career where racing with the pressure off is more of an asset for him. And, really, when you look at James McFadden, in my opinion, the greatest Australian to ever sit in the seat of a sprint car, I think he could win at any time.
He was top 10s in the Knoxville Nationals before, so he knows how to get around this place.
Well, let's talk about another one of the up-and-comers. He's been running full-time with the World of Outlaws this year. We're talking about Emerson Axum, a guy who went out and won the Chili Bowl this year. But racing with a wing on, racing against the World of Outlaws, what does he need to learn in a 410 still to make him a threat to become that next guy that's like Ryan Timms?
I'm high on Emerson Axum. I think he is one of the most talented people to ever jump into a sprint car. And I remember watching him in the micro sprint days. He just did a lot of things right. I think right now it's finding help. These tires are different. The cars are tough. There's a lot of really good teams and drivers out there. So when you're off a little bit, it shows up like you're off a mile. I think that his rookie season with the Outlaws has not played out how a lot of people had it penciled in. But I don't think that takes anything from his ability. I really believe that it's just a matter of getting himself comfortable and getting some help there on the wrenches. You know, not discrediting the team, but this sport is so difficult when the driver's not 100% comfortable and everything's hitting on all 8. You know, I just think if he could get a little bit of help car-wise, he could win the Knoxville Nationals. He's won the 360 Nationals, I believe. He ran second. I know he was really good, at least won a preliminary night. So jumped in the 18 car, and he has the experience on the Outlaw Tour before this. So, you know, really to me, I think it's just a matter of getting the right pieces of the puzzle in the right spots.
With that being said, you've ran the Knoxville Nationals a couple of times. You came forward in both of them. How difficult is this race, and how come you're not coming back and joining Brother Gio?
Yeah, I haven't lost to Knoxville Nationals in the last 7 years, so I'm feeling pretty good about myself sitting here. But, you know, I love this place. I came here with my wife and kids, and when we drove into town, I get the same goosebumps that I got when I would race here all the time. And you know, the biggest thing for me is how difficult this race is. I haven't been on a half mile in about 6 years, 7 years. So to show up, it's hard to just do that. Now, I will say I've been flattered with offers to drive cars over the last 5 or 6 years, some really good cars, but I will come back. it needs to be at the right time. And, you know, I won the last World Challenge here, which I wear the ring, and it's something that I'm very proud of, and it's very special to me. So this place, I may be from California, but this is my favorite racetrack in the country.
You're up on the stage show with Tony Bachhoven. Later tonight, you're going to be doing some pit walking with this guy. You ready to continue your learning education on TV?
Absolutely. I'm glad that they said after the feature, so I've got a few hours to head to Dingus and get myself loosened up for the post race.
You got any final thoughts?
Well, it's a pit walk, so just make sure you can walk. That's the most important thing. But no, I'm excited. It's been hot all day. Expect the track to slick off. I expected it to fall off in qualifying, and I think that means it's going to be pretty slick in heat races too. So that means guys are going to drive hard, put the balls on the line, and try to get some points and put themselves in a good spot for the feature.
The hour has drawn near. All the pre-race talk is over. It is time to go to the track. The Knoxville Raceway takes center stage with Brant qualifying night. As Tony Bachhoven, John Gibson, Blake Walker will pick up our coverage on the backside of this DIRTVision commercial. Hey everybody, it's the Knoxville Nationals. It's August. Be sure to enjoy it.